Hi guys, and welcome back to Aid's Workshop. So what are we doing today? Bits and bobs, lots of bits and bobs, bits that needed doing, a couple of bits for work, and maintenance within within the shed here. There's a few little things I want to do. We did mention cleaning the chuck out the other week, so we're going to be doing that. And yeah, there are various bits and pieces of project I want to do, so I'll take you along with the journey. Enjoy, guys. So, got a little job to do. Strangely enough, this is for work. So, spacer shafts, I think they're M10 in either end. These particular ones are 95mm long, and it's a part of a machine. Normally, I think there are two sizes, 95 and 72. We happen to be out of stock of the 72mm long ones, so I'm simply going to take some 95mm long ones. I'll just scribe a line on these. 72mm. So yeah, I think they're M10 in the end. They're drilled fairly deep. I should be able to part them off, face them to length, and then just re-drill and tap them to the same sort of depth they are now. So we'll jump to the lathe and get that done. Okay, fairly straightforward. Yeah, where are we? Chuck key. Ooh, that just fits in the throat of the chuck. It's actually hitting at the back there. That's fine. So I've got a line on there, drawn at 72. So I think first thing to do, let's part these off. Just, you know, leaving a nil on them, what have you, and then I'll part them off. Machine the face, I think, just to a clean up, you know, nice smooth finish. Then you'll see. So yes, haven't been on the lathe anywhere near enough lately. I should have a little brush here somewhere. You know what, I've tidied up and I can't find it. Never mind. I was going to use a bit of cutting fluid on here. Let's just leave a mil or two. Yeah, I need a little small brush. I found it. Okay, let's see if that helps. Take my scissors off there. Bit of cutting fluid as we're machining. Okay, so that was quite tough stuff. Oh, come on. Must have a bit of dirt in there because that normally is nowhere near that sticky. Facing tool. I had it a moment ago, didn't I? I just took it out. Okay. So let's just face that up to a nice clean face. Bit faster. What are we doing? 650. Okay, so step 1. Now I just need to know how long that is now. So let's have a quick look. Calipers is turned off. 0. Come on. So I'm looking for 72 mil long. 72.4. Okay, so fairly straightforward. I just touch on there. Let's do that. Let's just come up to the face. Set a 0 on my DRO, and I know I want 0.4 off there. That's 0.2. I don't know how these holes were put in here originally, but they're not. They don't look brilliantly central. Okay, so let me just think. They're 72 now. They were 95. I have taken 13 mil off there. So whatever depth those threads went to, I need to increase it by 13 mil. Got a little chamfer on there. Okay. So I need to get the... I'm sure it's M10. I will check it. I need to get the tapping drill out now and drill it 13 mil deeper and then tap it M10. Okay, just increased the depth of that hole. I went 14 turns on my hand wheel on the tailstock. No point in bottoming the tap out for no reason. So yeah, there is an existing thread in there. I think I'm going to hand tap these in the vise, just with an M10. They were M10, just hand tap them out. Yeah, and then obviously down to the bottom, and then that's the job done. So one done. Yeah, obviously doing that on camera. Let's do the second one. So oh, it's tough stuff, you know. A little bit of metal working fluid on the top. You know what, I think I'm going to have to work this in gently by doing a bit with the taper tap, and then a bit with a straight tap, and then, you know, step it down. Otherwise I'm worried about snapping the tap. Okay, so I think that first tap I had was a little bit blunt, and I've got a tidy taper tap in here now, and it's just cutting with a lot less load. Ooh. That could have been catastrophic. Okay, that's the full depth of the flutes on that tap. Come on, that looks far better. And then just finish it off. I think so that taper tap I was using, I think was nice and sharp. It went in without any load. That plug tap, I think that's coming to the end of its days as well, because that's got quite a load on it. So I'll see if I can find a better plug tap, bottoming tap. Okay, so I did find a better tap. So I think those two taps that I was trying just now, I think we won't throw them out, but I'm pretty sure they will have cut a tight thread, because they are very badly worn. They'd be fine in a mild steel or something, but they really didn't like it in this. But yeah, I got a thread all the way down there. I'll have to run a deburr around the top of there. Do that with a Noga. Let me grab that. Okay. That's better. Okay, one done. Let's just do the second one on camera. Now that I've got taps at work. So there's just a remnant of thread in the top of here. Maybe 2 or 3 turns. Yep, that's it. Which is enough to get me started. I'll just go in to the bottom of the threads. Very little load on this. Starting to increase a bit now and getting deeper. That's that one. Okay. And you can see there's still plenty of cutting oil in there in the threads themselves, so I won't put any on the tap this time. Alright, I'm getting to the tapered bit now. Ooh, what's in there? That's deep enough. I can hear it crunching in the bottom of the hole. So much easier when you got sharp taps. Now with the correct size tapping hole, 8.5 for 10mm, so 1.5 pitch. They were like the taps I was using. There's no way it should have been that tight. You know, there's something wrong. You know, you can feel it, but if it's straining, you know, and I actually sort of moved my vise, then it tells you something's wrong. But when I changed to a good set of taps, happy days. So yeah, breaking taps is a thing, but if there's that much load that you're going to feel it's possible to break a tap, then there's something up, wrong size tapping hole, you know, materials hardened, could be any number of things. Right, I didn't check the finished size of those. Let me just double check that we hit our numbers. You know, plus or minus 0.1 we're looking at, but 0, 0, 0. So 72 we're looking at. 71.9192. Okay, and 71.98. Okay, that's, yeah, absolutely fine. So those can go back to work. We have other parts. So we talked a week or two ago, or last week, I think it was, yeah, Cocktails Part 5, about my chuck being a bit grindy. So it's got signs of rust, you know, corrosion, what have you. I did give it a quick clean, but there's all swarf built up in it. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is let's take the jaws up and give it a polish first of all, just get the, you know, for shame's sake. So let's just take the jaws out, and they're not bad, the jaws. I mean, this chuck has always performed really well. I'll take the reverse jaws as well. Now look, there's corrosion there. I need to sort that out. I'm going to take these to the wire wheel and give them a good clean. So yeah, it's neglect, I'm afraid, from you know, them being sat here in the shed and me not putting the heating on last winter. You know, it's a combination of many things. Could have been sprayed down in oil. I'm sure they were sprayed in WD-40, but it hasn't lasted. There are lots of rust preventative sprays. I could have sprayed everything down in here, but at the point where I was last in the shed, yeah, it was the last thing on my mind for whatever reason. But so we're getting back to it now. Let's clean this up. So I think a bit of Scotch-Brite is what we want. So what have we got here? I got a bit of, I call it green Scotch-Brite. Pot scrubbers, you know, it's a kitchen pot scrubber, green stuff. I have got some proper proprietary Scotch-Brite. So if this snags, it's just going to pull out of my fingers. Very like when I'm doing emery cloth. So I'm just going around the outside of this. Okay, that's worn through there pretty quick, but that's the intermittents. So let's do the front face, can I? I can do the corner. I can't push too hard on this because, as you imagine, it's got the 3 cutouts. So I'm going to do them by hand without it revolving, just get the worst of it. Obviously I was bouncing over the keys, so I'll just go around those with it stationary. Okay, so it's all going to be cleaned, but that's it for now. So let me just put a jaw back in, any jaw, because I want to any jaw, any space, because I want to release the chuck from the headstock. So I usually use a spanner on the jaw as opposed to using the chuck key to stop it rotating. Can I get to the last one? I can. Okay, let's have that jaw back out now. Right, and we'll have this chuck off. Awkward to get to on these mini lathes. I did show many moons ago, I've got these nuts with a captive washer that rotates The ones that are supplied with a lathe, that you put a washer on, then you put a nut on. It's just a faff. But when you get these ones with a captive rotating washer, just makes it so much easier. Okay, that's the chuck off. So let's give that a wipe. So there's not too much corrosion in here, because the chuck's been on there and there's been oil residue in there and the air has been kept out. I might use a little bit of Scotch-Brite around the outside here. Nothing, of course, you know, nothing that's going to change any dimensions there. Okay, that's fairly clean now. Right, okay, so happy with that bit. Let's sort this chuck out. So impromptu work area. Let's just give that a clean first, even though I'm going to get it mucky again. Cutting mat. Ugh. Okay, it's a lot cleaner than it was. So first thing I'm going to do, take a little back plate off. So appropriately a size screwdriver. They were tight but not. Ooh. Okay. Out with the 3 screws. They look like cheese-headed screws with a slot, look like M4 by 10mm long. Anyway, so that, okay, that doesn't look bad in there. Still got grease in it. That was spray grease, I remember doing that. What's that like? Has it gone hard? Ooh, that grease. Oh, it's still quite soft on the outside edges. Down in the, yeah, it's still lubricated. There's some hard bits of grease around, but still lubricated. Okay, I'm going to take it all apart and clean it anyway. So next thing I want to do is take out the drives. So 3 screws. Oh, bugger. Push down too hard on the screwdriver. Oh, got it. So these screws have basically got a pin on them which locks in. There's a pin. So they're basically a straight pin with a thread on the top end and a screwdriver slot. There's 2. That's gone. I must tight that one. 3 pins out. So these should just, there we go. 3 of those. Okay, so I can see grease with the gears going, but there's nothing much on the end, so they go through into a hole in the central boss and they're quite dry. In fact, they're very dry and shiny, so yeah, it was due for a good clean. So next thing we need to do is take out the scroll wheel. So it should, there we are, and it did right on cue. It should just fall out. So the muck, yeah, that's mucky, and that's mucky. So normally what I do here is get spray brake cleaner, blast it all out, blow it out with the airline, clean it all, put it back together with a bit of lube. I haven't got any brake cleaner, so I may have to improvise. Okay, it's stained, but it's a clean bucket. Little, I don't know what it is. It's a paint bucket. 2.5 litre paint kettle. But these things are handy in the workshop, just for whatever fluid and cleaning stuff down. So, on my shelves, I don't know how long it's been here. Oops, you can't see it. A tin of gunk, engine degreasant. I think this stuff's been around for years and years, but yeah, this is a good degreasant anyway, so I'll give it a good shake and then we'll dunk in the gunk. So it's like sort of, I don't know, creosote looking stuff. Doesn't smell particularly pleasant, but it's not, yeah, it's sort of, but it's going to clean the stuff. So I've got a brush and I'm going to dunk everything in there and give it all a good clean. You don't want to watch me cleaning stuff, but that's just how I'm going about it. So quite some time ago I was given this, camera's going to move because I'm walking around on the floor, given this Parkside belt sander. Now it did have a grinding wheel on that end, but I've got a grinder, as can be seen over there. I've just put it on the bench so you can see it. Right, okay. So I didn't need the grinding wheel, so I was also given by another subscriber many moons back that wire wheel which fits on there lovely. So the belt sander part here pretty much packed up. It was, that bit was janky, we'll call it. So it's been lurking around here in the shed. I was going to put a polishing mop on this side. I meant it, I was going to do it a long time ago, but yeah, I'm going to strip all this bit off, and then we've got a bit of de-rusting to do around the workshop, not only on the outside body of the chuck, but you know, we can use the wire wheel on the chuck. So I'm just going to strip these bits off here and then throw them in the bin, the bits, and then I may look at getting a polishing mop for the end, but that's another story. So far so good. Need to get this off now. So yeah, way of locking the shaft. I'll have to have a look at that. Might be left, I'm sure that's a left hand thread, but yeah, I'm sure it is, but we'll see in a second. So turns out my plan was to hold this wheel here and unscrew this. That end's the left hand thread, this end isn't. Okay, so it's too tight and this wheel is slipping. So I think what I'll do is, I've just loosened the nut. I'll take the left-handed nut and the wheel off this end. Okay, now I remember, gosh, that goes back some time. I remember turning these nylon bushes, see the black Delrin bushes, I remember turning those up way back. Gosh, I'd forgotten all about that. So yeah, there's one there and the other one's on the shaft still, so I'll pull those off. Then I'm going to attempt to grab the shaft the other end, not on the running bit, on the main body of the shaft with a mole grip, just to grab hold of it. Then we might stand a chance of undoing that nut. Incidentally, the two hand wheels, little hand wheels, I know they're only cheapies. There's a spring and an 8mm nut that were part of this mechanism. I'm going to hang on to those. You never know when they might come in handy. Okay, so mole grip firmly attached on the main body of the shaft on the other end. I have actually clamped this down on the bed of the mill, knowing that there might be a bit of brute force and ignorance going on. Okay. Well, that came off there fairly simply. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that nut back on there, because let's just tighten it back up again onto its base, because I don't know what thread that is, and if I do want to put something on this end, I'm going to need a nut. Yeah, okay. So yeah, if it's a mop, I'm going to need an arbour of some sort. Anyway, so I'm not going to throw that away. And will that come in handy? I don't know. It may, you never know, for something someday. So I'm not going to throw that away either. So with that said, I can go in the box of assorted materials under the bench, back onto these screws now, and we should have it apart. Okay, it's all off. I took the 3 screws out. I put them back in the holes. In fact, I can... Oh, they are tight. I put them back in, tighten them up, because you never know, I might want to put a guard or build something on here at some point in the future, but I've got the appropriate screws now for it. So yeah, that's just going to revolve in fresh air when I'm using the wire brush on the other end. So yeah, that's it. So put the wire wheel back on the other end, just gripping this by the bit of shaft that's not doing anything, or won't be, not on the machine part. Tighten up the nut on the other side. So yeah, they're left and right hand thread. So this one's conventional thread, and that end's a left hand thread. Obviously with its direction of rotation, they're both self-tightening. If that was a right hand thread, it wouldn't be self-tightening, and there's a danger that it could come unscrewed. Anyway, right, so God forbid that I do any wire brushing on the bed of my mill, so I'm going to remove it from there and put it on the workbench. We don't want to cover it in rust, dust, what have you. I know it's not the ideal environment for my mill in here. You know, it is what it is, but oh, dirty glove. But with that said, you know, that would be just a bad idea, and I'd probably get slated in the comments for doing things like that. Everywhere I look, things want to clean. So let's clean down this bit of workbench, and this is stinking. In fact, I think I need to get the vacuum cleaner over this side. Oh my goodness. I know I'm going to get dust all over it, but yes, so look, yeah, I think I'll clean that again. Well, it wouldn't eat your dinner off it, but certainly a lot better than it was. Okay, so I put the well, I'm going to call it a grinder, the wire wheel, the machine, the electric motor, little special, on the bench. It's on with the G-clamp. I've just given it a good shake. It's on there solid. Things have to be versatile in my shed. I don't have room to have things permanently mounted. Otherwise I could just drill 2 holes through the bench and screw it down or what have you, but it can't live there. I need that space for the other grinder when I use it. You know, things have to be put away under shelves and brought out when needed because of the lack of room. But okay, sounds alright. At least I haven't got everything sort of wrapping around on there now. It's a lot better. So I've cleaned up, let me show you. So I've cleaned up all the parts in the gunk. You know, brushed them all through, let them soak in there for a while. It got all the grease off really easily, and then obviously I didn't want all the gunk left on it. They've been rinsed under fresh water. I did it under warm water. It's quite weird because the water just came off like beads, as if they'd been waxed. You know, so everything, the water, a couple of quick shakes and they were bone dry, but I wiped them over with blue roll. They've been washed in fresh water. So obviously the chuck itself, there's a few little areas with, you know, sort of marks. We'll try the wire wheel on some of these areas, see how we get on. But the reason I've been playing with this wire wheel is, if I talk about the mini lathe, there is one of the tool holders of the mini lathe that came with the, I think it's a 0 size tool post, and I made a load of spares and I blackened them, but as you can see they haven't survived the long period of rest, or the long period in the shed. Some areas have, but you can see the tops haven't. So I want the wire brush to clean these all back off again. So I'll strip them, clean them back off again, and then they're going to want re-blackening. So yeah, that was a fail. It was weird because the areas where they, you know, some areas are absolutely fine, and other areas, especially the top, I suppose it's where they've been in the shed here, and you know, sunlight's been on them and they've been hot and cold. I don't know, but they've corroded on top. But it's only surface rust. I can take it off and we'll redo those. So we'll have a look at one of those afterwards. So gloves off for this. These wire wheels are going to grab hold. They're quite dangerous, these, so you've got to be careful what you're doing, because whatever's in your hand, it'll try and pull, and then obviously that'll give you a nasty rash. But if you've got something like a glove on, you know, it'll try and rip the glove off, much the same as it would on a drilling machine or what have you. So I will have to blow this out and clean this out afterwards, but I'm just going to see if it does anything. Oh, one thing I will mention, on these holes, they were actually quite a sharp edge around the outside of these, so I've just taken the Noga and just cleaned up that sharp edge. Yeah, that's just a side story, but so I'm going to be very careful. This is going to try and pull me down and in, so I'm not going to push silly hard. Okay. Well, that's making quite a difference. There, did you hear that pull? Now, I don't know how well that'll show, but it's polishing it up. Just taking the sort of blackness out of the rust stains, as it were. And the surface is always going to be slightly pitted, but I have got rust remover, but that seems to, I don't know, it always leaves everything like a dull colour. Okay, so it's these edges here now. Yeah. That's working. Right, front face. Now, it's a very fine wire brush, this. You know, it's not vicious at all. Okay, I think I'm going to call that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well it comes up on camera, but it's taken away most of the marks. There's 101 opinions about lubricating these. As you saw when I took it apart, the gear mechanism inside had this, and it was this actual tin, white lithium grease. However, so that's fairly captive inside the chuck. You mustn't go mad on it. However, the scroll face and the jaws, I didn't have any lubrication, but obviously it does get a little bit of oil or whatever. So what I'll probably do is on the front face and the bore of the chuck, I will just get a little bit of engine oil on my finger and just make sure everything's just coated, not lubricated, but yeah, coated, if that makes sense. Because when the chuck spins up, if there's oil in there, it's going to centrifugal force spin all the oil out, and you're going to get covered in it and all up the wall and all the rest. Now, it does have a nipple on the front, an oil nipple. I squirt that with like one squirt once in a blue moon, so I probably will give it a squirt when I'm done, but I'm going to pre-oil it first. But anyway, this spray grease has got a propellant in it, and it takes a while for the propellant to evaporate, and it smells, you know, well, you know, the propellant does. So I'm going to give it a really good shake, and I'm going to lubricate these three parts and this wheel here. So, don't know whether you can hear my wind chimes are going in the background. I've given those a spray. I'm going to let the propellant evaporate. That's the word I'm looking for. So I've got the famous oil can. So there's something else in this video today. So there's a bit of oil in there. Right, so what I'm doing with this is just making sure that everything's just got a little coating of oil on the inside. So okay, so that's all around the outer edge, and now front face as well. There's a raised portion which runs on the ring here. There's a raised portion, so I just want to make sure that that's got some oil on it. And then, yeah, I'm a bit mean with my oil. Let's and then again the inner part as well, the inner boss in there, just make sure that's got a little bit of oil. But we're not flooding this by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a smattering, and I'll do those three. Oh, just a finger of oil. Okay. Oh, I can see it's a bit thick there, bits in there. Right, okay. Right, so I'm happy the inside of that's lubricated. There'll be enough overspill of grease on this, but the face, where I don't really want too much grease, is facing the right way. So, next job. Still a bit of propellant around in there. Right, okay. Drop that down the hole. Simple as. So with these, now there is a bit of grease on the end of these, so which was very dry before, so I just pop them back in, make sure that wheel's down, just pop the three of those back in their holes. Okay, I suppose I could have sprayed the grease down in here, but it's just, yeah. Okay, so they're all in place. Now back in with the 3 screws. Okay, well, these haven't got to be ridiculously tight, but obviously you don't want them coming out, but they can't come out when the chuck's fitted because it's against the faceplate of the lathe or the headstock, but just tighten them down. Oops. I didn't have just the right size screwdriver. All my nice screwdrivers are up the house at the moment. Okay, that's those done. Right, so I think what I'll do, again, it's a rust preventative. I'm just going to make sure all these surfaces have just got a little bit of oil on them off my fingers. In fact, I could use a bit of this leftover grease that's on the bench here. This is not for lubrication, this is more for rust prevention. Okay, so that's straightforward enough. Pop that back in the hole. Yeah, that's lined up. Back in with the 3 screws, and then we'll give the chuck a wipe over. And that's the chuck body done. So it doesn't take much, just take it apart, clean it. I've had to de-rust it, which is an extra step, which most of you, I hope, don't have to. That's not the right screwdriver for that. But I tidied it up, made it look a bit more respectable. Just pulled that ring over a bit then when I tightened that. Maybe I should have screwed them all down first. Okay, let's check them. Right. So I've got no reason to believe there is any damage or problems with this space, because my chuck runs really nicely, and obviously that's been in place on the headstock. So yeah, I'll give it a wipe over when it's back on the lathe, but I need to put my attention on the jaws now. Now, as we saw, they were quite rusty, so I'm just going to show those to the wire wheel as well. I've already show them to the wire wheel, give them a clean. Might do the same thing, put them through the gunk, wash them in water, dry them off, a little bit of finger oil, back in. I think I may have invented a new name for a type of lubricant. Finger oil. No, you know what I mean, but yeah, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? It's more just these outer faces. This one's not particularly bad. There's not removing any material, this wire wheel anyway, as this is a cleaning thing more than anything. Okay, that was really good. So they do want to go through the degreasing. Let me find a particularly bad one. There we are. This one, quite badly rusted. Can you see it? Let me check. Yeah, you can see it. So, never going to be perfect, but it's going to be vastly improved. So I think I'm going to have to wire brush down in that channel. I might be able to get some purchase in there. I'm going to be careful though. So these wire wheels, my glasses are toughened lenses. They're not normal glasses. I deliberately ordered them like that when I bought them, knowing that I wear them in the workshop. So they have got safety lenses in, even though they're standard sort of glasses. So those of you that say you're not wearing safe glasses, they actually am. But those of you that are not bespectacled, like myself, these wire wheels, well, any grinding operation, but these wire wheels are particularly nasty because they can throw out little wire spikes. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about the consequences if you weren't wearing glasses, but you can imagine. I've never seen it happen to anyone. I've had spikes stick in my jumper, or I've had spikes stick in my trousers, and they'll go through your jumper and stick in your belly, which is, yeah. So yeah, I've used a lot of wire wheels over the years and what have you, but they can throw out strands of wire, and that's not nice. So yeah, that's a lot cleaner. There's more work to do on these yet, but you can see that it's cleaning them up nicely. I think you've seen one now. That's enough. So 2 sets of jaws, my inside and outside jaws. How do you tell the difference? It's the way the scrolls go. So if I put that one next to that one, these are the outside, these are the standard jaws, and these are the outside jaws, right? Okay. So you can see that when you put them side by side, all these outside jaws, the scroll is going in an arc this way. Yeah, and all the inside jaws, it's going in an arc this way. But that's how you tell the difference between two sets anyway. So with that said, so these here are all my conventional jaws. So those are the ones I'm going to put back in. Now, all you regular viewers and all you people with lathes are going to say, oh, we know all this, you're teaching us to suck eggs. That's fine. This is for the people who are new to lathes, never taken the jaws out of their chuck, don't know how to get them back in the right order. I'm going to try and explain. So, it's stamped better on these outside jaws. So as you can see, that says 1 and then 750. Down in the groove there, it was harder to see on that one, but 2, 750. And 3, 750. Okay, so when you put the jaws back in, you do them in order, 1, 2, 3. So these ones are actually, that's number 3. I don't know whether you pick it up on camera. 1032, so 3, 1032. That might be a Walco part number or part number of the truck maker. 2032, and that one has to be 3. Okay, but yeah, there's a bit of corrosion in there. That was that bad jaw. So you need to identify your number 1, number 2 and number 3 jaw. That's the first thing. So yeah, you can see the numbers are written inside, 1, 2, 3. Or they should be. If they're not, if you've got no numbers on them, right, the way to tell your number 1 is pretty much, if you look at the distance, I'll try and point it out. On the outside here, that's a large distance to the first tooth. That's somewhere in the middle. And that's very small. And if you want to look from the other end, I'm reaching around the camera here, guys. That's quite a large distance there. That's the middle one. Yeah. And very small. So number 1, the scroll is always very close to the front of the tooth. Yeah, with the gripping point. Or if you're looking at the back, it's the furthest away. And then you've got one in the middle and one the other way. But if you haven't got any numbers, that's the way you tell. Right, we've established that, and it's much the same. If I look, which one's number 1? That's it, number 1. So on this one, number 1, I'll go with the gripping face, or the outside face. As you can see, there's a small distance, middle distance, and a large distance there. Okay, so that's how you'd identify them if you didn't have any number stamped on them. Great if you got number stamped on them, then you could just pick them up, you haven't got to think about it. Right, we'll go to the chuck and I'll show you how to put them in the correct sequence. Okay, so we've got 3 jaws and a 3-jaw chuck. So, first thing I'm going to do is put them in order on the top of my headstock. So that's number 3, that can go up first. That's number 2, that can go up second. So number 1 is the one in my hand. Right, okay, so these are the conventional jaws, the normal inside jaws, outside jaws. I call these outside jaws. Right, if I revolve the chuck, number 1 written there, whether you can pick it up or not, and that should be number 2, and that's number 3. So if I start with number 1, and I know number 1 on my chuck, when I have that puerta facing away from me, that's number 1 on top. Okay, so you put number 1 in first in number 1 slot. Now this is the important bit. If I rotate the scroll, let's do this, let's go round, you can see the scroll's right at the top there. Now I'm going to go round and you'll see where it starts, and I'm looking at my camera viewfinder here. The scroll's going down, down, down all the way, and somewhere around here you can see it there. You see the next tooth is coming round. So if I bring it to there, if I take it back away from me, I can now drop that tooth in, and I'm going to turn my chuck key quarter turn. That's captive. Now I need to work my way round to number 2. Pick up number 2 jaw, keep turning my scroll, and I can see it coming into the window there. Turn it back out the way, drop number 2 in, quarter turn tightening on the chuck, go round again, and then the final one, just take the scroll back, start the scroll back out the way so I know I'm in the groove, in with the jaw, and tighten the chuck. And hopefully or I'm going to look very silly, you can see that all 3 jaws come together in the correct sequence. Purely, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's remove number 3, which is, let me think, it's 1, 2, yeah, that's jaw number 3, so that should come out first. I'll just unscrew until it comes out. Okay, so if I got it wrong, so let's say that jaw's coming round now, you can see it in the window. If I went out of sequence and went round one more turn, and wait till the jaw comes round, there it is, right, if I put that jaw in there, and then tighten the chuck, I'm out of sequence there. So this is why you need to learn how to do this, because as you can see, these 2 have come down too, and that one's out of kilter, so we're all offset, so that's not good. Right, okay, that's just released. I need to go around another turn. I'm working backwards. Right, should be right now. Let's say I messed it up. There we are, all come together in the center. So yeah, you put jaw 1 in slot 1, jaw 2 in slot 2, 3 and 3. Start with jaw 1, bring the scroll around till you see it in the window, take it back out the way, put the jaw in, bring it in just a little bit, and then move up to the next jaw. When you see it come across, drop your jaw in. Number 3, exactly the same. Wind it down. I mean, yeah, I've done this more time. I don't even think about doing it now, but if you've never done it before and don't know how to do it, that's how to set the sequence up for your jaws so that they're all concentric. Anyway, obviously for all those of you who have got lathes and been doing it for years, such as myself, that was teaching a granny to suck eggs, but there are lots of new subscribers and new viewers and people who haven't looked at, you know, only just got a lathe that follow me on this channel. So that's how you do that. It's fairly straightforward, and if you found that useful, hit that thumbs up button. And oh, something that's come up. In fact, shall we go to the chair? So I'm in the chair, corner of the workshop. So oh, an old friend has come back. Many of you viewers will know, well, it's happy days time because I'm back on YouTube. So to celebrate and happy days, the original, here it is, and you can see it's still got its holes in it. The original AIDS Workshop green jumper is back. Now, I was horrified earlier. I thought this episode, which is number 299, so the next episode is going to be 300, so that's a landmark. So anyway, I will wear it on the next one, but because it's a landmark. Yeah, this jumper's appeared over the years and people got to know it. Well, anyway, this morning I thought, okay, I'm going to be doing some filming. Let's get the green jumper out, seeing as I'm back. Well, I couldn't find it anyway. So it turned out it was in my wardrobe. And my wife, bless her, she has like about 7 wardrobes and I have one. Anyway, so what that means is that, like, I've got several shirts all on one hanger and several jumpers all on one hanger, and I think this was the 3rd jumper or fleece down on this particular hanger. I was looking everywhere, couldn't find it, and in the end I decided, right, let's pull every hanger out one at a time and just investigate, and there it was, 3 deep on about the 12th hanger. Right, okay, so it's back, and rest assured my heart is now, I thought she'd thrown it out. I was about to go bonkers, but I didn't. I thought, no, let's get the facts right before you do anything rash, Aid. But yeah, the jumper's back, so I'm sure a lot of you new viewers will wonder what on earth I'm on about, but you long-time viewers will know exactly what I'm on about. So with that said, so YouTube, the reason I'm back sat in the chair, as I said it would be, there is a feature on there. Now, I predominantly, in fact, I only really watch YouTube nowadays, or online streaming, if that makes sense. I don't watch any television at all. My wife watches it. We've got Sky Stream, I think you call it. Anyway, and she's got everything on there, and Netflix and all anything you could ever wish for, 1,000,001 channels. But at least with YouTube, you can basically, if you want to look at a subject, you can just type it in, and there you go. Right, so all of you that want to hit the thumbs up button, if you hit the thumbs up button and you're watching on a laptop, you know, that sort of idea, then that's it, you push the thumbs up button. That's great. And don't forget to push the thumbs up button. However, if you're watching on a mobile device, I think you get about 3 chances to do this a month. But if you're watching on a mobile device and you push the thumbs up on my video, you'll get the option. It'll come up, hype this video. And if you click on that hype, it's great for my channel. So if you're going to click the thumbs up, click the hype as well, guys. Thanks very much. So anyway, it was Sean from Saving Blue Steel who put me onto that one. And between us, we've worked out that it only works on mobile. It doesn't work on laptop, so to speak, you know. So anyway, on a mobile device, if you're going to push that thumbs up, push the hype button as well. It does it great. And obviously we'll get, you know, better interaction from the dreaded algorithm. So with the algorithm said, that's great. So anyway, I don't know how long this video is going to be, so I'm not doing an outro yet because I'm sure I've got more to add in. Oh, I need to explain something. The arbour press, so yeah, it's all back together. You saw me in the last video sorting the hole out in the end of this shaft because it was all on the wonk. The reason I cut a tooth out of the rack, if I just spin it, you can see there's a tooth missing out the rack. Without that missing, oh, that'll do. Let's go up. If we'll have to use our imagination here. If I imagine this is a shaft going into a bearing. All right, we've got to use our imagination. Right, so that comes down on there. I have set this up, by the way. So yeah, you've got your lever and I would be pulling towards myself. Now, ideal position is pulling slightly downwards, so it doesn't do that at present. You know, it's fixed and geared in by the rack, and when you get to the end of the rack movement, let me see. Oh, I'll just put that bar up. I don't like this screw. I'm going to do something about that as well. You know, it sort of, it bottoms out on the end, and it's basically completely contained within the rack. So as it stands, you're stuck there through your range of motion. However, if I go up to the top, click, come down a bit more, let's do 2 more. There we are. Now I'm in a position where I'm pushing down, which is where I've got more power than trying to pull towards myself and pull it off the bench. Whereas if it would be bolted down, clamped onto the bench. Now I've got downward force to get a more controlled way of pressing. So yeah, that's why it's got the click. So I really don't like this knob on the end. I'm going to do something about that. But yeah, as you can see, you've now got the option where the handle is in a different position depending on the click. So as you can see, it's there now. If I wind back up, go 1 click, I've changed the rotational position of the handle in relation to the position of the ram. Like, let's do 1, 2, 3, right. Now when I'm at the bottom, I'm in that level position. So only 2-3 clicks normally does it to bring it from like an upright to a horizontal. But that's why I removed that tooth on the bottom of the rack, to allow that skipper tooth. So in the gearing between the drive spline in here and the rack here, I can jump over a tooth and index around, altering the position of the bar. So that's why I did that. Not my idea, I'd seen someone else do it. Right, so okay, it's all screwed down. I flattened all this off to make it nice and bitty. This setup is just screws that guide this. Now this isn't perfect, but it's not bad for flat and square. The rack does throw a bit, so I've got to live with a bit of front and back clearance, but side to side I've got nothing. And it still runs really nice and smooth. So yeah, that's where we are with that. I suppose a job I got to do now is make some tooling for it. In fact, I wasn't even going to use this, but I might keep it. It's just a roll pin. Yeah, it might be alright for pushing bearings out. It's rusty. Might have to show that to the wire wheel. May have to do something on the top of here. Yeah, I'll probably keep this, you know, for pressing bearings or what have you, but I'm going to make a series of tooling as and when I need it. So there'll be perhaps there'll be an aluminium plate that screws on here, with a hole in it, and then I can make a collection of, you know, in the correct place underneath the vertical hole, selection of punches, selection of dies, and I can do what I like with it then. But yeah, that's the thinking behind it, and that's more for sort of clock stuff and what have you. But you never know when you want to press a bearing in a controlled manner, because nobody likes hammering on bearings. It's never nice. So back to me talking again. I've had a few questions on the previous couple of videos about the sound on my videos. So typically I use a video camera, as I've always used a video camera, a Panasonic video camera. You know, it's got all the bells and whistles and what have you. I have got an SLR camera that will do video, and I've got a GoPro, and obviously I've got the mobile phone. So there's several ways to capture footage, and I've used all of them. You know, sometimes it's GoPro shots. Most of the time it's this camera, which is, I'm going to say 3-year-old, and my earlier videos, first 2 years, was done on this one's predecessor, which didn't have extra bits and bobs like remote control. Yeah, this camera's got a remote control, which reminds me the battery's gone. I'm having to get up and turn on and off all the time, so I need to change the battery in the remote. But as far as sound is concerned, what I'll do, I'm using at the moment a shotgun mic. Now the problem with that is, if I'm pointing at something I'm machining, it's pointing at the noisy noise source, and you can't hear what I'm saying so well. Whereas actually, because most of my videos is about me chopsing away and explaining what I'm doing, if I were to wear a lav mic, which I have got a lav mic with a transmitter receiver, if I were to wear that, then it would pick up my voice predominantly, and the background noise would be the machining, and we'd stand a better chance of having a better sound quality in general. So I think what I'm going to do is, I haven't done it, I went to use them today and they were completely flat, so they're in the house on charge. I'll show you the shotgun mic, and obviously the mic is plugged into the camera as we speak now, or as I speak, and let's see what the sound difference is when I take that off and just use the camera's mic. So I'll find out when I'm editing if there's any difference in sound, but this is just using the built-in mic in the camera, and the mic I use typically, which plugs in straight into the camera, is this Rode shotgun mic. Now these aren't cheap, you know, it is a good quality one. I see loads of people using them on YouTube, you know, with cameras. They are the sort of go-to without spending thousands of pounds, but it's a good quality mic, and I've been using it for quite some time. So I think what I should do is, when I want to focus on these sorts of shots where I'm just talking to camera, this is probably the one to go with. Let me put it back on. Okay, I'll put that mic back on the camera now. I don't know, we'll find out in the edit, or you give me some feedback, guys. You know, has it made a difference with that? So when I'm talking to camera, I think I should be using this mic. When I want the noise and I'm not talking and I'm just recording what's going on the machine, probably this microphone. But when I'm doing both at the same time and narrating what I'm doing, which is more often than not, I think I should be using the lav mics. They're on charge. The next video I'm going to be using those, and then we'll basically have something to compare the two, or I will as well. When I listen to YouTube, I've normally got either headphones or earbuds in, so yeah, it's difficult to tell. I mean, they're sort of noise cancelling and auto noise leveling and all that sort of thing, so I don't get this sort of sudden loud and sudden quiet quite so bad as you might if you were just watching on laptop or a mobile. So with that said, that's enough about sound. But yes guys, I have got the proper equipment to get sound done well, but I'm not very good at using it. But I think I need to train the way and how I'm recording the sound, as well as recording the videos. So I think that's about it for this video. I've got lots of wire brushing to do, so I will be having a go at those tool holders. You've seen me wire brush stuff on the bench here, so there's that. So what I will do, and I haven't shown it in quite some time, is I will be chemical blacking these afterwards, and I will show you how to do that and what I use, because there's all sorts out there, but what I can readily get hold of. So with that said, guys, I'm so glad the jumper is back. This is number 299, 300th video coming up, the next one. So I'm going to have a think during this week as to what I'm going to do. I've got an idea, but yeah, the ideas can change left, right and centre. But I'm basically bringing the shed back to life after being away for so long. That's the priority at the moment, preserve my equipment. Mini lathe needs to be got on with. The D-bit grinder needs to be done. I want to do a bit more on the Webster engine. I want to get that running a little bit better. I think I need a spring on, an extra spring fitted somewhere, but I'm waffling. So don't forget to hit that hype button if you're watching on mobile, and welcome all you new subscribers. I can't speak. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Now, I think since I've been back, which is just over a week, I think we've up by like 89 subscribers. So we're 14,500 and high numbers now, so we're going to hit 14.6, but obviously big goal will be that 15. You know, it's taken me 5 years to get to where I am, 1 year off, so okay, let's say 4 years, but you know, 1,000 was a big goal, 5,000 was a big goal, 10,000 was a massive goal, you know, that we got to, which I never thought would happen. But here we are, you know, a couple of years later, and we're nearly on 15,000. So yeah, thank you all of you for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, it didn't cost you anything. Just push that subscribe and you'll get notified, hit the bell and you'll get notified whenever I put up a new video. I've waffled enough for today. See you all very soon, guys. Bye now.